Good to see everybody today. We have almost caught up on sleep. But obviously really excited about how we closed out the season. I think the winning by such close margins in a number of spots throughout that kind of all the way from that regional championship all the way through was really rewarding and just I think speaks to the character and the grittiness and the toughness of our team.
All righty, we'll go ahead and start with Kyle.
Shannon, Amari, after you guys have had a little bit of time to kind of sit on this, what does a top three finish in the country just say about this program and what the future holds for it?
Yeah. Mari, you wanna get this one?
Sure, I'll start.
You can start us. There you go.
Right. I feel like that just proves how much we can out-heart each team, honestly. I feel like people have tend to sleep on Mizzou gymnastics for whatever reason, and this year that's just a testament to how hard we work and how we have just as much talent as any other team in the SEC and the country, but we can really outwork and out-heart them. We are really able to adapt to those tough challenges throughout the meet, but not letting ourselves kind of dwell on those, but moving on from event to event, just starting over throughout the meet.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what Amari said there. I always think that culture piece, and it's hard to translate what that's worth, right? But I always think that it's worth a few tenths, right? And those tenths obviously came in critical at many junctures as we kind of move through that postseason right there. And it's super rewarding to beat teams that have national team members on them, that have Olympians on them, right? I think that says a lot about the preparation that we did all the way from the summer through. It says a lot about the buy-in, and commitment level from the young ladies on our team. Yeah, but it transforms what our expectations can realistically be moving forward. That's really what it does mainly, right? I wrote it on our whiteboard actually out in the gym yesterday. I said, hey, look, this year's goals are next year's opportunities, right? So I really feel like that's what it does for us, right? It's easy to talk about stuff, but until you do it, it's really not a reality. And so I think that's really what it does is it makes that a reality and in a feasible goal that the next team can do and the next team can do.
We'll go to Gabe, Karen, and then Henry.
Yeah, for both of you guys, I'm curious when the moment was that it kind of really the bigger picture sunk in of what you had done. I mean, I know there's the immediate reaction, hey, you finished third, but when did it actually kind of hit you what this program had done and maybe the new level you'd hit?
I'd say,
Yeah. Go ahead, Mar. Yeah.
I'd say I still have a little bit of processing left. I think I just haven't been able to fully process it just yet because I'm done with gymnastics now. So being able to really sit down with the fact that that was truly my last time slapping a leotard on is a little bit of a bigger pill to swallow. But I'd say that it kind of registered right after everybody in the crowd, like in our section, was kind of cheering for us. And then just being able to take that trophy home, watching our freshmen carry that trophy on the plane, it settled in a little then, but I'm still processing.
Yeah, I agree. I think for myself and I think probably our coaching staff, I feel like the in the moment is really great. So that was awesome, on that evening. But I really felt like the next day for us, like I woke up the next day and I'm like, holy, you know what? We just qualified to the Final Four. I'm like, and we had talked about it all year long and just said, hey, I feel like we can be a team. I mean, that can be on that last day of the season, and then to actually go and then do it because we knew that was a lofty goal, but then to go do it was super cool. And I think I almost had to sleep on it at night and then wake up the next day, and for it to be a reality. And Gabe, so good to see you on our Zooms, buddy.
Appreciate it.
So Amari, I know you just said you're kind of still processing, but I'm wondering, as you wrap up your Mizzou career, what do you want to be most remembered for? And what are you most proud of about your time at Missouri?
I'd say I'm most proud of my time at Missouri, just being a part of this team, being able to contribute how I have. I'm coming into the all around as a senior, doing beam, adding beam in my repertoire as a junior. So being able to contribute as I've contributed for my team the past 4 years has probably been my biggest achievement. I just want to be known and remembered as a person who gave a lot of energy, but also gave all that she had to her team.
Just for Amari, just kind of how has just working with your brother throughout your career, with choreographing your teams, how does that kind of influence, you think, your growth as a gymnast and performer throughout your collegiate career?
I would say that it's allowed me to carry my family with me to each meet that I go to. It's allowed me to just build a little bit of a closer relationship with them because I missed a lot of their growing up since I was doing gymnastics and I wasn't able to go to a lot of the family functions. So it was just a way for us to build a closer bond outside of our household and outside of our sport because he was also a gymnast at one point too.
We'll go Kyle, Gabe, and then back to Karen.
For both of you guys, just what was going on this journey like of breaking, it feels like a program record just about every meet?
I would say our journey was coming back and living in that moment of the record broken, but then also saying, okay, but we could still do more. We can still accomplish this. We could still get more landings. We could still, save a handstand or two. We could still save a vault landing or a couple. So being able to live in that moment of, holy crap, we just broke record and we're going and we did this, but also saying, okay, not getting complacent, still working harder.
Yeah, I think we did a really impressive job of resetting for the next week. Like as soon as we would do those things, and I didn't take inventory of all of it quite yet even, but I didn't allow myself to take inventory of all the impressive things that we did this year and until we were finished, quite honestly, because I think if you just have to stay in the moment, and I think that's easier maybe for people who've done this for a while, but I think that can be challenging for anybody, but especially student athletes, right? Just to reset every week and be like, okay, hey, we would acknowledge it the next practice in for like 30 minutes, and then we were moving on. And I was really impressed with that this year, and that kind of refocus and resetting for the next challenge ahead. And they just lived in that week and just prepared that way. And I think that was really a cool thing this year.
This is probably more for Shannon, but Amari, if you have thoughts, please feel free. You guys have talked a lot about raising the profile of your program, and Amari's talking about people sleeping on Mizzou gymnastics. Have you given any thought to what this run can do or can signal for other teams at Mizzou, a school that hey, you don't have to have the biggest budget, or like you said, the Olympic medalist on your team to be in contention and going head to head with some of those programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always thought it's very inspirational, and we've actually talked about it in our kind of team meetings at the beginning of the week. Like if another team has a great win, like how cool that is, right? And I think we as staff and student athletes, we feed off those things. So when you see, football taking down, a big dog, right? Like then the other sports, I think they say, hey, we can do that, right? Like it's possible, right? If they can do it, we can do it. And hopefully we have that same impact on maybe some other sports as well. From a resources standpoint, listen, I always feel like from a coach, from my aspect, I just need to be close enough. And maybe it's egotistical, maybe it's not, but I feel like I can outcoach people, quite honestly. But I got to be close enough. Like we just have to be, I got to be close enough. Maybe Florida's got a little bigger budget than we do, but if we're close enough, I think I can outcoach them, quite honestly, and I think our staff can outcoach them, and I think our team can outwork them on that end. But we just got to be close enough right there. And so yeah, we can get it done. And I'm impressed with the leadership, honestly. I've been through, this is my fifth AD, and I've been here 12 years, right? And so I think I have a perspective on, kind of all those people. I really like Laird, and I think he's doing a great job. And I've been impressed with how he's kind of managing the ability to keep us competitive, but, also work within the resources that we have. So it's been impressive there.
Sorry, if I can squeeze in a quick follow up for those of us maybe who aren't as familiar with gymnastics as some of the other sports. How do you out coach people in gymnastics? What do you mean? Because like there's
Yeah.
not a play you call. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's all offense, right? There's no defense. So we talk about it all the time. I think just being more organized, like I spend a lot of time personally, and our staff does. We work a lot, and just organization. I think we do a really good job, and Amari can hopefully back me up on this. But communication, I think we just try to make sure that they're probably tired of meetings by the end of the week, but we just do a real good job, I think, of communicating. Hey, what's the goal this week? Making sure that they feel like they're involved in the process. Creating culture, creating a great culture, creating a common goal. I think those are things, along with the technical aspect, obviously, of whatever sport it is too. I think we're very technical coaches, but we try to keep it fun too. So I think that's when I talk about that. Just managing people, right? And I think we outcoach them by doing a really good job in those areas. And Mari, maybe you've got some follow-ups to that. So
Yeah, I would just say that honestly, just because we have not had an Olympic medalist or just haven't had a person of that caliber on our team, that doesn't mean that we don't have people with, if not the same amount of talent, but more talent than those individuals.
So Amari, another question for you. So you mentioned watching the freshmen walk off with the trophy. Um, so what's your message to the ones that are still there that are on the team, the freshmen who got into lineups this year, but also those that are still on the team that are maybe still trying to work their way into lineups, like how you had to work your way back into beam, for instance?
It's not over until it's over is probably the best advice that I could give. Anything could happen. I wasn't in beam until we had an injury, and then I had to, pick up where she left off. So it's not over until it's over. Just continue doing your job because that's the only thing that you can do. It's your gymnastics.
I'll go ahead.
yeah,
Shannon and Amari, just what excites you both about what's next for this program? For Amari, like the younger teammates that you've seen, perform at a really high level this year, and Shannon, all around what you've seen from this group and practice and maybe behind the scenes that we haven't got to have a front row seat at this year.
yeah. Mari, you wanna hit that one? You want him to repeat the question?
I was like, can you repeat the last
Yeah,
part?
repeat that question. I'll follow up on hers.
Sorry, just what excites you guys for just what's
Right.
next and what you've seen from your younger teammates, that just has you excited for what the future can hold for this group?
Yeah, I'm honestly excited just to see what they do when I'm not there because I know this team is great. I know this team's destined for amazing things. So just being able to watch from the side and really cheer them on and take in every moment, actually be able to watch everybody and know what work it took for them to get there. I'm excited for our little guys to get into lineups. I mean, there's a lot of open spots, so it's anybody's game right now. So I'm very excited to see what they do with these opportunities and how they decide to grow.
Yeah, and alumni tailgates, right? You excited
Yes,
about that?
that
Yeah. Yeah. I think how fortunate are our freshmen to number one have that experience freshman year. Similar. Amari had a similar experience, but we didn't quite get to Final Four, right? And so for really excited for our seniors to kind of bookend their careers with such great experiences. But as a freshman, that's your first experience in the postseason. That really sets the bar super high for those ladies. And I heard a couple of them say, "Oh, we got to do this again next year," right? That was their comment. I heard that from them. I'm like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. We should do this again next year," right? But you don't know that or have that drive sometimes until you really truly are a part of it. And I think that is going to make it easier for them to just have that daily drive. And they got to see some really fantastic upperclassmen and underclassmen as well. But they were a part of that. Not only the postseason experience, but just what it took, and they had great examples, from Amari to Jocelyn to Helen, on what it takes on a daily basis not only in the gym, but in the locker room, in the athletic training room, and nutritionally, conditioning wise. They got to see all that firsthand, and just what does it take to get to that level. And I think that that is invaluable, that experience.
We'll take our final question from Karen.
So Mizzou's had so much success in the transfer portal. By the way, the post that went out yesterday was amazing. So I'm just wondering, both from Amari and you, Shannon, what's kind of your pitch to incoming transfer portal entrants? Like, why Mizzou? Like, Amari, you came all the way from California to Mizzou and then have been here for 4 years. So, like, what's kind of your sales pitch to get people to join you, or is it a secret?
So I would just say, if you're looking for your people, we are culturally sound, is what I will say. I will say, out of all of the teams that I have met, I truly feel like we have the best culture. We really care about people as people. Yes, they're amazing and talented young women athletically, but just being able to see what amazing women they are outside of that gym is what is the most special. So being able to kind of share that with transfers of, this is home, your coaches are your family, you're like second parents to us. So being able to really express that, I think they'll have a hard time finding that anywhere else.
I mean, we have, I think we really do accept people for who they are. Now we're selective on who gets to walk in those doors, right? In the first place. So that really helps. But I think we've got we have a lot of diversity, not only in the traditional sense, but just in personalities as well, and just some things like that. I mean, we got a lot of unique people on our team, and we just accept them for who they are, and they know the parameters that they have to kind of work within, right there, and we let them be themselves too. But again, we set up some boundaries there, like all teams, but we let them be themselves. I mean, Amari is her own unique person, and we love that, right? And so yes, and we want them to do those things because I think that makes it a cool experience, right? And I think when other people see that, it's very visible and palpable, especially whether they're talking to Amari or whether they're on a visit on campus, they can sense that too. And so and yes, that graphic that went out yesterday was genius. And so I have a really cool video, Karen, that I will share with you sometime later on. But we didn't want to make it public because it's so great. I didn't want like LSU copying it. So so I didn't want to put it out on social.
I'll keep it to myself.
We send it out individually. But hey, the first thing we're going to do, honestly, when it comes to recruiting, is take care of our own student athletes, right? The people that are in our program, and we have a high value on the people coming out of high school. You have to do a lot of things, but we want to make sure that the people that are currently in our program are having a great experience and are continuing to progress in all aspects, right there. And then listen, the transfer portal is part of what we do these days, but we're still going to be super selective, right? Because I think there can always be this grass is greener mentality, and on that end, we have typically, we find a lot of value in some young ladies that are doing great things with lower resources, quite honest, or lesser resources. I think that's something that I look for, quite honestly, is are kids that are looking for just a more competitive experience, right? And I listen to keywords when we Zoom with them. And if they say these things, I'm like, oh, this could be a good fit. And I also hear some things I'm like, this would not be a good fit, right? And so, we do both of those. And then we're going to take care of our high school, kids coming out of high school up to us. I think that really, truly is our base, is the high school to Mizzou. And then we're going to supplement it with those, some of those young ladies in the transfer portal. And I suspect we'll do well in that again this year. That's the plan. We'll share that information as it comes along. And I think we got some returners that are going to be announced here pretty soon as well. So some of that stuff's coming down the pipe.